Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Daily Millwall. Well, I don't know if it's special. Maybe you can tell me after you've watched it and let me know at the end. But it is an extra edition. It is a season preview of the 2021-2022 EFL Skybet Championship season. And normally when I do the Daily Millwall videos, I bring you news from Millwall websites, Millwall centric websites, the South London Press, the Suffolk News, Millwall FC official site, and places like that. But today I'll be bringing you news from national websites, and what they will be talking about is their predictions for where teams will finish at the end of the season and what they will do during it. The season kicks off today with Bournemouth versus West Brom tonight. So we'll see how that goes on. And at the end of this video, I'll be telling you my predictions for the season ahead. So let's just jump into it. Yeah, Meg style. Let's go. So this is from theguardian.com, and this is their championship preview. And here are their automatic promotion contenders. Last season, two relegated teams shot straight back up to the Premier League, and it is difficult to envisage Fulham, Sheffield United and West Brom not being in the mix in May. Fulham's squad, led by Marco Silva, is arguably the strongest. Alexander Mitrovic equates to a cheat code. He has scored 38 goals in his past 57 appearances in this division, and gifted Harry Wilson is an outstanding performer at this level. But their former manager, Djokanovic, is now at Bramall Lane. He's one of the best coaches to have graced the division in recent history. Djokanovic can call on the majority of the Blade squad promoted 2 years ago, and Ryan Brewster can shine unburdened. West Brom hemorrhaged goals in the top flight, but Matt Clark will improve the defence, and Alex Maurer, reunited with Valerian Ismail, beef up the midfield. Mateus Pereira is set to depart, but Grady Diangana, Carlin Grant and Callum Robinson will have defenders running back to goal. Bournemouth, Stoke and Middlesbrough, under the watch of Neil Warnock, who has highs for a record 9th promotion, could provide the stiffest test. Playoff hopefuls. Beyond the teams relegated from the Premier League, the bulk of rivals appear much of a muchness. Cardiff City possess a Golden Boot contender in Kiefer Moore, but crucially will be supplemented by James Collins and Ryan Giles in a shrewd loan acquisition from Wolves. Queen's Park Rangers excelled from January, and in Charlie Austin, who has re-signed permanently, they have one of the league's most clinical strikers. Nottingham Forest were erratic last season but have a healthy spine. It would be foolish to rule them out given Chris Hughton's pedigree. 12 months ago, Hull City were shrouded in doom and gloom after relegation and a run of 1 win in 21 matches, but a buccaneering team promoted as champions returned with a bounce. Randall Williams adds to an exciting front line, and the 22-year-old goalkeeper Nathan Baxter, who has played more than 150 games on loan from Chelsea, steps up another division. So that's interesting there. They've got Hull City as the playoff hopefuls. I really can't see that. I really can't see that. So Swansea City, playoff finalists in May, will hope the appointment of Russell Martin will breathe life into what promises to be a challenging campaign after the exit of Andrew Ayew. Loanees such as Gueye moving on, and the expected departure of captain Matt Grimes. Millwall and Luton were short of goals last season, but are upwardly mobile under Gary Rowett and Nathan Jones respectively. Both have tried to boost their attack, with Benekofobi joining Millwall on loan and Luton turning to Cameron Jerome. Well, I know which one I prefer out of those two, and that would be Benekofobi, who revived his career in League One with MK Dons last season. Elsewhere, Nigel Pearson has brought in a confidant in the former Leicester physio David Rennie at Bristol City, and if they steer clear of so many injuries, they could surprise after a poor campaign. Bristol City are not going to surprise anyone. They are absolutely fucking dog shit. They will get relegated this season. You see what happened to with Leicester City after they got rid of Nigel Pearson. They won the bloody league, Premier League, out of nowhere. And they're up and up there still, doing very, very well. So whatever Nigel Pearson is, he ain't it. So relegation candidates: 3 months on from Wayne Rooney declaring more mess-ups could prove fatal for Derby County survival chances. There's anything but a sense of serenity before they kick off at home to Huddersfield, who finished a place above them after one win from their final 10 matches. The transfer embargo has hampered Rooney's hopes of adding to a threadbare squad, though they are eligible to sign 4 players on deals till the end of the season, subject to a strict wage threshold being applied. 9 trialists, including Ravel Morrison, continue to train with the squad. To top it all, Rooney inadvertently injured one of the few contracted players, Jason Knight, when making up numbers during pre-season training. Derby County will be relegated. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. They are so certain to be relegated that the bookmakers are not giving odds. You cannot bet on Derby County to be relegated. The bookmakers will not take your money. Now you got to think, bookmakers ain't mugs. They ain't losing money. If they ain't taking your money on Derby County being relegated, you got to think there are 3 places in the league and at the bottom of the league to be relegated. So they're absolutely 100% certain that Derby County will be in one of those 3 places. And I'm pretty sure there may still be a chance that they might have points taken off of them still. So if that happens, it's game over. But they think even with starting off on 0 points and not having any points deducted, they're still going to get relegated. And I've got to agree with them, yeah. So Reading are another team working with one hand behind their back, under embargo for a breach of profit and sustainability rules, and the exits of Armel Richards and Michael Wilacey are a blow after a disappointing end to last season when they won one of their final 11 games. Yeah, I've got to agree with that. Now, a lot of I've been looking around, a lot of the predictions made so far for Reading or for them to be high up in the table, I cannot see that. They are in absolute chaos. They've been on a massive downwards slide since Majeski left, and I cannot see them doing I don't see them being relegated, because I still think they have enough quality. They had a really good youth system, which is where Jake Cooper come from, so I can see them surviving, but they're not going to be contending this season. So Blackburn also appears bleak. It is difficult to envisage Adam Armstrong, who scored 29 goals last season, being in the Championship at the end of the transfer window, and Tony Mowbray, having failed to add to their squad, presumably will again look to the loan market after Adiera Biayo, Harwood Bellis and RVL are impressed. So yeah, their better players last season were all loan players, and they've all gone now for Blackburn. So Peterborough, back at this level for the first time since 2013, so 7 years ago, have plenty of silk. No team scored more goals in the top 4 seasons last season, but whether they have enough still remains to be seen. Coventry returned to the Ricoh Arena hoping to consolidate in the second tier, but must shore up at the back, while Blackpool, promoted via the playoffs, do not look armed to make the step up. Preston finished last season with a hooray under Frankie McAvoy, but a modest squad facing an uphill task. And then it's got 3 youngsters to watch, which I'm not really that interested in. So there you go. They've put Millwall as playoff contenders, but at the end of the list. So they've gone Cardiff, QPR, Forest, Hull, which is surprising to me, Swansea, and then Millwall, Luton, and Bristol City, which I just cannot see at all. So that's from The Guardian there, Ben Fisher. And that was written on Wednesday. So let's move on now to The Mirror. This is from the mirror.co.uk, and they say they've got a bit of fluff at the beginning, and then they go, so Barnsley, so they signed Josh Benson, which is the player that we were linked with last week. Just reading that. So they, yeah. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm just going to go to what they say about Millwall, to be honest. Yeah. So let's just get to that. Scrolling down. So Millwall promotion odds 7-1. Marquee signing Bennett Kofobi, Stoke alone. The Lions will again look to bloody the noses of the so-called bigger sides in the Championship. Gary Rowell will be aiming to continue their impressive finishes. 3 of the last 4 seasons have seen them finish in the top half. The arrival of George Saville will only increase those chances, whilst Arsenal's Dan Ballard joins on loan and will be looking to make the step up. We predict 12th. 12th? That's worse than last season. We finished 11th last season with a really bad run of the last 3 games because we were already guaranteed. It was guaranteed that we couldn't get in the playoffs and we couldn't get relegated. So it was like, so we could have finished higher if there was still something to play for. But I think if we finished 11th last season, they predict 12th. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, skip all of this crap because they do actually put everyone here in order. So this is what they predict. They predict Fulham and Bournemouth to go up automatically. They predict West Brom, Sheffield United, QPR and Stoke to be in the playoffs. They predict Cardiff, then Middlesbrough, Birmingham and Reading, Luton to finish above Millwall. Okay, Birmingham, no, I don't see that. Reading, no, absolutely not. Luton, no, I don't think so. Now they have made a lot of signings, half decent signings this summer, but I think that's just to tread water to maintain. Although to be honest with you, they probably didn't need to make that many signings because there's some real crap in this division, like as you see with Derby, and here you got Derby. They got Derby finishing 23rd, not rock bottom. They think Peterborough are going to finish rock bottom, or maybe not rock bottom, but will finish bottom, and they think Hull will be relegated as well. So the one I just showed you, the Guardian, have Hull finishing in the playoffs, and the Mirror have Hull finishing relegation plots. So what's happening there? There's someone's going to be right and someone's going to be wrong there. They got Preston, Blackpool, Blackburn, Huddersfield, Bristol City, Nottingham Forest. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Nottingham Forest will be contending for playoffs. I think they are in not too good a situation there. Swansea, yeah, I think they're off the boil now. I don't think they're going to be doing too well this season. So I think I probably going to agree more with the Mirror than the Guardian. So there you go. They've got Millwall finishing 12th. So let's have a look now at this one. This is from a website called sportslens.com. Not really heard of them before, but let's have a scroll down. So Championship 21-22 preview. They talk about the Golden Boot first and the table prediction. So they're talking about proven goal scorers, and they reckon Mitrovic there. As we've seen, he's got really good record in the Championship, but in the Premier League, it's just a so-so record. He done okay. He's pretty selfish, to be honest with you. Not much of a team player, and we saw that last season at Fulham as well, with the Lookman guy taking that Panenka penalty, and just especially at the end of the game, which they could have won, and he just messed it up. So they reckon Mitrovic or Adam Armstrong for Golden Boot, but like the website before said, will Adam Armstrong still be there? And he hasn't got Harvey Elliott playing with him, so could that be a factor? And they say here, another player who banged them in last term was Welsh forward Kiefer Moore. He found the net 20 times for Cardiff and followed this up with a header against Switzerland at Euro 2020. And that is the thing. Another thing I think, now Kiefer Moore was bigged up massively at the Euro 2020. A lot of people were impressed with him because they haven't seen him playing in the Championship, because they probably don't. They just look at the Premier League. They don't look at the Championship. And it would not surprise me at all if Kiefer Moore left Cardiff and went to the Premier League. It would not surprise me at all in the slightest. Especially with the money the Premier League's got now. You just seen 100 million for Jack Grealish to Man City. It's like, wow, okay. If Jack Grealish is worth 100 million, how much is Kiefer Moore worth? 25, 30, 35? I'm not saying he's worth that, probably not, but someone will probably pay that much. So here they say here, so the appointment of Djokanovic at Sheffield United could have a huge impact on the Golden Boot race. The 52-year-old is renowned for his free-flowing attacking play, which greatly benefited the likes of Mitrovic and Troy Deeney during their best goal-scoring seasons. This alone puts the Blades forwards in contention for the prize. The likes of Ollie McBurney, Ryan Brewster and Billy Sharp may have struggled in the Premier League, but all boast impressive goal records in the Championship. Another player in a similar boat is West Brom's Karlan Grant. He only scored 1 goal in 21 outings in the Premier League, but he's done it before at the Championship level. And they also reckon Charlie Austin could do well for QPR, and he's playing very, very well. Playing very, very well. And then they say an outside shot for the Golden Boot would be Johnson Clark Harris. Playing for Peterborough. So I'm not too sure about that. I would think someone like Benicofobia actually. If you going for that, like, so there's some clubs, they're probably not going to score a lot of goals, or not that they're not going to score a lot of goals, but the percentage of their goals will be scored by a single player, and all the attacks will go through them. And I can see that happening with Benicofobia at Millwall. That he will score probably. I could see him scoring 15 goals at least this season. It would not surprise me, and that would be pretty decent for Millwall. Pretty decent. When's the last time we had a 15-goal striker? So they just talk about a Golden Boot, and then they go for a table prediction, and here we go. So this is what they reckon. They reckon Sheffield United will win the league. Fulham will be second. West Brom third. Bournemouth fourth. QPR and Cardiff in the playoffs. So I think they base this basically on attacking players, because they've just, all the players they've bigged up in the Golden Boot talk that they just had, they basically put their teams in the league. So QPR with Charlie Austin, Cardiff City with Kiefer Moore. But if Kiefer Moore leaves, I can see Cardiff dropping off, and that's what Millwall are going to need. However much we've improved, we're still going to need the teams above us to drop off for whatever reason. Whether they've come down from the Premier League and they've got rid of too many players and brought too many players in, and that's not working for them, that's not gelling. The new manager Sheffield United, Djokanovic. Now he's done wonders at Watford and Fulham, but they're London clubs. He's playing up in Yorkshire now with Sheffield United. It's different up north. It's grim up north. Can he still do it up there? Will he struggle? They haven't signed anyone yet. Sheffield United. So what's that all about? Now, can you imagine a player who a manager who doesn't want to sign any players? I imagine that he wants to sign some players. He's probably got some targets lined up, but then the club is saying you can't sign any players, or we're not paying for that player. So that's probably going to get him a little bit frustrated there, I would imagine. And if he leaves halfway through the season, if they get rid of him, I can't see that doing too well for Sheffield United. Same with West Brom. They nicked the manager from Barnsley, and they expect him to play similar football that he did at Barnsley, that high pressing, high attacking game. And they scored a lot of goals, but they also conceded a lot of goals. So will West Brom get involved in like shootouts? Will be winning games 4-3, 5-2, be going crazy? That would be exciting to watch, especially if their games are on Sky. But it's generally not conducive to doing well in the league. But if you want a Golden Boot contender, maybe West Brom's the place you want to look if you're looking to have a bet. But here they got Millwall 7th, which now it's better than we did last season. But I would imagine in the eyes of the club, and especially in the eyes of Gary Rowett, finishing 7th will be an absolute failure. Now, depending on the circumstances that happens, if it does happen, they this is just one prediction from one website here, but if we finished in 7th, I could see Gary Rowett considering that a failure. Yeah, I think we need to get in the playoffs, not because we deserve it, but that's the target, that's the aim. That's what you're aiming for. That's what we're doing this for. That's what we wake up for. That's what we go to training for. That's what we drive to the ground to play in the games for, to watch the games for. That's the target this season. To finish either 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th. That's the target. That's it. If you don't do that, you failed. It's like the Olympics are going on now. If you won a gold medal, you've won a gold medal. If you haven't, you're a loser. If you got a silver medal, you're just the first loser. It's not a gold medal. And similar situation here. So they've got Birmingham. Let's carry on now. Without Birmingham, Swansea City, Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough down at 10th. They've been shopping the bargain basement. They brought a few players in, but they are. Will they be good enough? I'm not too sure. They've got Coventry, Barnsley dropping off with their manager leaving there, and Alex Mowat leaving as well. Reading is down as 13th. It's good to see they're putting them down there. They got Stoke down in 14th. Preston, Peterborough, Nottingham Forest down in 17th. Again, I agree with that. I don't think Forest are going to be doing a lot this season. We got Luton Town in 18th, so they reckon, however well Luton have done with bringing players in, it's not going to do too well for them. They're still going to finish. They're going to finish down in 18th. They got Blackburn Rovers in 19th, Hull in 20th, Bristol City 21, which I definitely agree with. So they agree with me that Bristol City are bad. They've got Blackpool getting relegated. They got Huddersfield Town getting relegated, and they have Derby County finishing bottom. And I can definitely agree with this. This is pretty much lining up with one of few exceptions what I kind of see happening here. So let's move on now to this one. This is from betfair.com. So it's a gambling website. They want you to gamble, but they do articles as they try and draw you in for a bit of content. So this is Betfair has joined forces with their Not the 20 Top 20 podcast for their new EFL season, kicking off with their famous 1 to 24 predictions. Read their championship summary here and listen to the podcast for full analysis. So I think this is how they reckon the teams will finish. They reckon Fulham will finish first. Swapping Marco Silva for Bournemouth bound Scott Marco in a dugout looks an upgrade despite losing plenty of low needs from last season. This is for the level, with 19 having won promotion out of the championship before. Now here's what I want to say about Fulham. The last 2 seasons that Fulham were in the championship. Now Fulham are a yo-yo club. They yo-yo between the championship and the Premier League. The last 2 times they were in the championship, they did get promoted, but it was via the playoffs. They didn't finish in the top 2 places. So everyone's tipping them to get automatic promotion. Maybe it might not be that easy. So they've got West Brom finishing 2nd. And if you look at the underneath there, so last season, see underneath the team name, it's got last season. And they've gone for in exactly the order they finished in the Premier League, which I cannot believe will happen. So 18th in the Premier League, Fulham. 19th in the Premier League, West Brom. 20th in the Premier League, Sheffield United. Come on, guys. You just making up off the top of your head. Put some effort into it. So the football at the Hawthorns promises to be high intensity and nutritional after the arrival of the Barnsley manager, and as well as Barnsley player Alex Mowat. So there they go. So they reckon 2nd for West Brom. Maybe if they score enough goals. We kind of saw that with Norwich. Norwich were banging the goals in, weren't they? But Watford were just kind of chugging along, getting 1-0s and whatnot. They scored very few goals, Watford. But so there's more than one way to get promoted. The West Brom way, just full out attack, banging the goals in, trying not to concede too many at the back. which I think if you're a Millwall fan, you bloody love that, playing that way. Or there's the other way, which is the Millwall way, the Watford way. Shoring up your defence and trying to nick a goal, which it's bloody it's awful to watch at times. But so that's if it gets results, it's worth it. But if it doesn't, it's kind of annoying. So for Watford fans, I'm sure they loved it at the end of the season. But for Millwall fans, finishing 11th, yeah, not so much. So they reckon Sheffield United finished third. Yeah. So they, yeah, okay. So they reckon Sheffield United will finish third. Jokanovic has won promotion out of this league twice before with Watford and Fulham, and he looks to have a great chance of repeating the trick with the Blades since retaining many of the players who fired them to the Premier League in 1819. Keeping an eye on Ryan Brewster, who has all the talent and plenty to prove. So there you go. So, but like I've said before, Watford and Fulham are London clubs, basically. Watford a bit far out there, but still a London club. This is Sheffield United. It might not be the same. They haven't signed a single player, and I can't imagine that he doesn't want to sign any players. You ask any manager, they'll always say, "Oh, we just need 2 or 3 more players." Every season they say, "Oh, we just need 2 or 3 more players, 2 or 3 more players," and we're there. They say that every season. Every manager just wants new players, fans as well. So they reckon Bournemouth will finish 4th. If Scott Parker was working with the squad that Bournemouth had 12 months ago, you'll be looking at a title challenger. But having lost a few key players and likely soon Danjuma, one of the best players in the league, that looks a tougher task. So they reckon Bournemouth will drop off a bit. So they reckon Middlesbrough will finish 5th. This doesn't look a great renewal of the Championship in terms of depth. Middlesbrough are one side who can build on a mid-table finish last season. So Neil Winnicker's master at this level. And Barrow will be typically dogged in defence, but it's the additional target man who take Pisa that could transform their potential going forward. I'm not too sure about that, my friend. I'm not too sure about that. He's yeah, I'm not too sure about that. So they're putting Middlesbrough to finish 5th on basically on Neil Warnock's shoulders. Basically, what he can do as a manager. They got QPR 6th there. They got Millwall 7th. So Millwall 7th. Millwall continues to be a team who consistently punch above their weight, and under Gary Rowett there seems little reason why this can't be the case again, especially with the fans back at the Den after they finally found a goal scorer in Benik Afobe. Now yet again another website puts us 7th, and like I said last time, 7th is not good enough for what we're aiming for. We're aiming for playoffs. That's what we're aiming for. Not that we deserve to be in it, but that's the target. That's the gold, that's the prize, that's the shining star at the top of the hill. That's what we want to get. Getting just below that, it's failure. It's not the target. So they've got Luton finishing 8th, Stoke finishing 9th, then Cardiff. Yeah, I agree with that. Now when Mick McCarthy went there, he had a very good run, very good run. And then it kind of just bubbled off, and they just kind of fell apart when they needed to actually maintain some form of form. And they could have gotten the playoffs, and they just fell away and finished 8th. So you got not in the finish as high as 11th. Not too sure about that. Barnsley finishing 12th, so they see them dropping off with the manager leaving and their best player leaving, basically. So Birmingham finished 13th. Hull finishing 14th, Blackburn 15th, Swansea 16th. Wow, they've got them dropping all the way down. They finished 4th in the Championship last season. So Russell Martin's late appointment is an exciting one for the club that has been a breeding ground for young managerial talent and for playing a possession system. Martin ticks all the boxes, but has pressing need to build a squad that has lost some key players from last season. With a fairly thrifty board, none too prone on splashing cash, mid to long term success is more than possible, but Swansea and Martin must hit the ground running. That's interesting. They got them dropping off massively from 4th to 16th. Coventry finishing 17th, Peterborough 18th, so they got them staying up. They got Blackpool staying up, Blackpool 19th, and here we go, Bristol City 20th. Yes, I'm pretty much agree with that. So they got Preston 21, The decision to sack Alex Neil without a replacement lined up looked bizarre at the time, but on the eve of the season with Frankie McAvoy, it looks like North End have it all to stay in the division. Fans pray for a new strike have not been answered, and many wonder where the goals will be coming from. They got Reading finishing in the relegation places. Wow. So that's probably a bit too far than what I believe, but you can see last season 7th, so they've got them dropping off as well. This is what you get if Millwall maintaining their things and adding Benicophobe and adding Jules Saville. You've got teams like this that are imploding. It's a story seen too often at this level, as Reading's overspending and failure to reach the promised land, or the Premier League catches up with them. Michael Elise and Omar Richardson's quality will be missed, but with the transfer embargo hanging over them and a thin squad as it is, things may get worse before they get better for the Royals. Yes, but will they get relegated? I'm not too sure about that, but they, like I said, they have enough quality players to stay in the league. I think they're worst teams in the league. So they've got Huddersfield finished 23rd. And then they've got Derby finished rock bottom. So they say Derby managing to avoid a posthumous relegation in 2021 is the only positive in a bleak summer. A threadbare squad was hammered even further when manager Ray Mooney sidelined Jason Knight in training. Embargoed and desperate, it's impossible to make a case for anything other than a whimpering farewell to the second tier. So they say that about Derby, but maybe they should have got relegated in the summer. Maybe it would have been better for them. Take your lumps when you got to take your lumps, and then build yourself back up. But now they've just postponed it for a year. They're going to get absolutely hammered every week. It's going to be very, very bad for the fans and everyone involved. And everyone knows they're getting relegated. So they should have just took their lumps last season and took the points deduction and got relegated to the League One and just carried on. And then we'll be playing Wickham this year. Instead, it's basically a 23-team league. So let's move on now to this. This is somewhat. So you keep hearing this thing about a supercomputer, especially at around about February, March time. The supercomputer predicts who will win the league, and so we're going to have a look at what the supercomputer does before the season's even kicked off, which isn't a bit crap, to be honest with you. I've had a look at it and I've seen it. They're talking about Nottingham Forest because this is from the NottinghamPost.com. But here it is. So this is what the supercomputer predicts. Fulham to win the league, West Brom second. Then Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Swansea and Middlesbrough in the playoff places. Then Nottingham Forest, Cardiff, Stoke, Barnsley, Reading, Blackburn, QPR, Millwall all the way down in 14th. Bloody hope not. That would be absolutely awful. Hull, Birmingham, Derby to finish 17th. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, mate. You might want to upgrade your software on that supercomputer. Preston 18th, and then Luton, Bristol City and Coventry to be relegated. Not to be relegated. Huddersfield, Peterborough and Blackpool to be relegated. Yeah, supercomputer's gone crazy. I don't agree with any of that. But it's just so. I imagine it's basing its predictions on last season's results, and you can't really do that because there's been a lot of change in terms of players and that. And we've got off the field situation with Derby, which they've got Derby finished 17th, and they've got Millwall finishing 14th. I imagine that's because of our poor results at the end of the season. But yeah, supercomputer, you're super fucking shit. Shut the fuck up. So talking about players going in, players going out. So we've got it here. We've got the this is from sportsmole.co.uk. Championship transfers ins and outs. I managed to find a website that's actually keeping track of just championship transfers, club by club, and here it is. I think this is a lot cleaner and a lot clearer than the transfermarket.com website. So this is sportsmole.co.uk if you want to find it for yourself. And there you go. For Barnsley, they've signed Devontae Cole. I think Andy Cole's son there. Quite a few players out. Birmingham City, Ryan Woods, we know him. He signed there. Chuck Sanike from Charlton, who was linked to Millwall as well. A lot of players out. Wow, look at that. Just released, and but they've released players who haven't found clubs yet. So maybe it was a correct response to release them. Blackburn Rovers, no one signing yet. No one signing for Blackburn Rovers. Blackpool, a lot of players in, a lot of players out. They're trying to find some decent players to allow them to compete in this league. Will it be enough? Not too sure. Now Dan Ballard played for them last season. He didn't go back there this season, even though I think they wanted him to go to a championship team. They let him come to Millwall, so that's happened, which hopefully works out for Millwall. Pardon me. Hopefully works out for Millwall and not for Blackpool. So they've signed Richard Keogh. He must be like pushing nearly 40 years old now. They've signed Shane Lavery on a free from Lingfield in Northern Ireland. Will that be enough? I'm not too sure about that. So Bournemouth. So 2 players in. A couple of players out, especially Asmir Begovic. Now, he was very good last season, goalkeeper. Will they miss not having a very good goalkeeper? Like he's left to go to Everton, so they've had he's left Championship Bournemouth to go to Premier League Everton, and that shows you how good he is. Does show you how good he is. What does that say about Bournemouth's chances? So Bristol City, 3 players in from Leicester City, Matty James from Leicester City, and Andy King who was at Leicester City. Got released from Leicester City, had to go all the way to Belgium to get a contract. Now he's coming back to Bristol City because the man Nigel Pearson apparently signs his mates. His one similar to Gary Rowett, who signs players that he's played with before or managed before. Will that be good enough? I don't know. But look at all these players that have left. Yeah. Bristol City, I cannot see them doing well at all. So here you go for Cardiff City. Players in, players out. It's Junior Hoylett released. No one signed him. Johnny Williams, Sol Bamba. Coventry City, Martin Waghorn gone there. Which, when he played for us, I was pretty impressed with him when he played for us. Would love to assign him, but he went to Glasgow Rangers instead, and scored a lot of goals up there, and scored a lot of goals at Derby as well. So I can see him doing well. He's a couple of years older now, but could be the difference between them doing anything or doing nothing this season. So here we go with Derby County. No players in, of course. All these players released. Yeah, interesting. They've lost some pretty decent players there. Curtis Davies released, but they've re-signed him today. This hasn't been updated, so Curtis Davies is re-signed for them. Fulham spending 12.6 million for Harry Wilson from Liverpool, and getting Paulo Gazzaniga from Tottenham Hotspur. But a few players out as well. Not too many though, not too many players out. Will that be enough to help them win the league? I'm not too sure about that. So, Huddersfield Town, Jordan Rhodes going from Sheffield Wednesday Crisis Club to Huddersfield Town. Might be a good signing for them, professional northerner. Quite a lot of players out there. Hull City, players in, players out. Not too bad, not too bad. Luton Town. So Luton Town, Fred Onyedinma, formerly of Millwall, now there. Cameron Jerome, they hopefully will score the goals for them. Alan Campbell, who we made a bid for in January. The bid was rejected by Motherwell, and now he let his contract run out, and he ended up signing for Luton Town. So good for them. A number of players released for them, including Ryan Tunnicliffe, formerly of Millwall, who's signed for Bristol, signed for Portsmouth. Middlesbrough, a few players in. Sammy Amiobi, Uke Ikpeza, and Martin Payero. Yeah, they announced this yesterday. They've signed this geezer from an Argentina club. Now, will that be the left field signing of the seasons? 6 million for an Argentinian. That might be a stroke of genius there. It might be like a Team Upuki kind of level of, wow, why didn't no one else look at this guy? But if they're signing players just before the season starts for £6 million, he's got to have something about him that they will be doing that. Quite a few players released as well. Marvin Johnson, we were linked with, didn't happen. He's gone to Sheffield Wednesday. Ashley Fletcher's gone to Watford. Jordan Archer went to Queen's Park Rangers. And George Saville came to Millwall. So I can see why a few predictions put Middlesbrough up there in the playoffs. That's a good set of signings. So here we go with Millwall. Millwall's business. George Long, Scott Malone, Daniel Ballard, George Saville, Benicophobe. Still having no sign of this attacking player that Gary wants to sign. We've got players released there: Williams, Ferguson, Fielding, Brown, Ransom, and then Muller and Bury out on loan. Nottingham Forest, one player in, a lot of players out. A lot of players with a lot of what would you say, experience. Glenn Murray, Amiobi, Sal, Diallo, Michael Dawson. So a lot of the older players is leaving Nottingham Forest there, but they haven't replaced them with anyone yet. Peterborough United, again, quite a lot of players in, quite a lot of players out, trying to improve their team. But so they've signed a player from Ramsgate, Eastleigh, Exeter, Colchester, Lincoln, teams lower down in the EFL. Would that be good enough to stay in this league? Probably not. I don't know. Moving on, Preston, few players in, few players out. QPR. Now this does look very good. Charlie Austin, Jordan Archer, and Andre Dazelle. They paid £1 million for Andre Dazelle from Ipswich Town. Stefan Johansson from Fulham, and Moses Adebayo from Sheffield Wednesday. That's pretty decent signings they've got there. Pretty decent. Mark Warburton knows what he's doing now, I think. Here we go with Reading. No players in. Sam Baldock gone. Sam Walker gone. Michael Elise. Omar Richards gone to Bayern Munich. So the players that have gone to better teams. West Ham United, well, better than Reading, but still. And Bayern Munich, Crystal Palace. So they've lost their better players, and I can see them dropping off. I don't know how anyone can see them even repeating what they did last season. Sheffield United, no players in yet. Quite a few players released. Quite experienced players. Phil Jagielka, Jack Rodwell. Quite old players in their late 30s are released there. Stoke City, Ben Wilmot. So they paid a lot of money. I didn't realise this about Stoke City. Paying 1.6 million for Ben Wilmot, paying 2.7 for Sam Surridge from Bournemouth. So, but they let a lot of players out the door. Benicophobe on loan to Millwall. Lee Gregory gone to Sheffield Wednesday in League One. Good luck to him. Sam Vokes gone. Jordan Cousins gone. Ryan Wood's gone. So a lot of players gone. And Nathan Collins, they sold him to Burnley for 12.6 million. So they've only taken a portion of that and spent it to bring in some decent replacement quality. So I imagine that's why we're seeing them being linked in with finishing the playoffs. Here you go for Swansea City. 3 players in and a few players out, so not much change. Andre Ayew released. Really? I thought he did it. He was doing it all right last season. Why would they release him? Don't know. Maybe he wouldn't sign a new contract. Who knows? Alex Mauer in for West Brom. Matt Clark in. Adam Reach in. And quite a lot of players out there. Charlie Austin out. He seems to be firing at all cylinders at Queen's Park Rangers. Even Lee Peltier has gone to Middlesbrough. So the players they've got rid of have gone to decent teams. We'll see. So these are all the transfers in and outs. This is again sportsmold.co.uk if you want to check it out for yourself. Yeah, so those were all the transfers. Now I'm going to show you this again. I've shown you this in the previous video. This is squad churn. So what this is the percentage of league minutes of players playing. So how many minutes of all the players played are still, which percentage of those players are still here. And Millwall are the top with 85.8%. That's, if you look on, it goes clockwise, and the bigger the chunk, the more minutes played. So I imagine the first chunk is Biakowski, and then Hutchison, and then Cooper, and then I don't know who that would be. Probably Jed Wallace, and then the grey one for Millwall, that big grey one, that's Ryan Woods, because he basically played it more or less every game. He's a Rowett favourite, but he's gone. And then you go up into the smaller sections, and those grey ones are the squad players like Williams and Ferguson, who didn't play that much, and they've gone. But most of the first team are still here, and that's similar to Peterborough, Sheffield United, Birmingham, QPR, Preston. But as we've seen, it's alright keeping most of your first team players from last season, but have you added anyone? Now, Sheffield United haven't. Millwall have. Peterborough have. Peterborough have basically got rid of most of their fringe players, because if you've got fringe players in League One, then they're definitely not going to be good enough for the Championship. So it seems they've got rid of their fringe players. Peterborough got rid of their fringe players from League One, signed a number of players who can try and compete with their first team players from last season, and then they'll have a battle it out to see who the new fringe players are in the Championship. So that might be a bit of what would you call it? A clash in the dressing room. Who's better? Who's worse? As they figure it out and try and figure out their first 11. You can see Swansea here, and I can see, well, this is probably why they've dropped off so much. They've lost 3 big players from last season and not really signed anyone. But the worst team at the top is Fulham. Look at Fulham. They've lost 4 first team players from last season, and you could argue probably another 2 there on the end, on the left hand side. So is that the difference between them? They haven't signed that many players. They've just signed a couple. So they basically haven't got the first team from last season. They've got the squad from last season, the fringe players, and 3 more players. And they're expected to go and win the Championship with that squad. Maybe that's not going to be happening. Maybe that's not going to be happening. So then you've got to look. So what they reckon: Bournemouth, Sheffield United, and West Brom as well. So West Brom not doing too badly here, 73.8%. Bournemouth 74.9%, and so you can see there. And Sheffield United more, but they haven't signed anyone. But so could that count against them trying to do this? Trying to win the Championship with basically the same team they had last season in the Premier League? Maybe not. Maybe not. Now the thing, Bournemouth, they've got the new manager and they've got Scott Parker in there. Scott Parker left Fulham for Bournemouth. So what's happening? Why would he leave Fulham for Bournemouth if they're both competing in the Championship? Does he know something we don't know? with all these players leaving. So there you go. So shown you this. This is from Experimental 361. I've shown you this before. I like his website. Ben Mayu, I like him. And will this mean anything come the end of the season? Who knows? Probably not. Probably won't mean a goddamn thing. But it's interesting to look at still. So like I said, like QPR 83.1, but they've signed some really decent players. So if you've already got a stable group of players and you add a couple of cherries on top, you've got a lovely ice cream sundae there. Very delicious. Same with Millwall. 85.8% of the minutes from last season is the same players are here. And they've just added George Saville, Benakofobi. So that's what we're hoping for. We've got the couple of cherries on top that are going to get us up there. We'll find out tomorrow in the Championship. Against QPR, we'll see. We will see. So like I said about signing players and bringing players in, so we've got this now. We can tell which clubs are in the doo-doo because it's published. It's not secret anymore. We're allowed to know. They publish it here. This is at EFL.com under governance and then under embargoes. So in the Championship, Derby County are under an embargo, Hull are under an embargo, and Reading are under an embargo. And you can hear the reasons why. So that's why I can't wrap my head around how Reading are being tipped to finish in the playoffs. I cannot see it all. And you can see here all the rules that Derby County are broken and the punishments they're suffering. The bookmakers aren't even offering odds on them being relegated because it will happen. It's gonna happen. So why didn't they take the relegation in the summer? Why are they just wasting everyone's time? What is the point? I don't know. Anyway, so I've shown you all that. I've shown you what the Guardian think, the Mirror think, what Sportslens think, what Betfair thinks, what the supercomputer thinks. That bloody supercomputer is a load of fucking shit. I've shown you the transfers. I've shown you the squad churn. I've shown you the embargoes. And now, here we go. This is a tier maker. And I am going to put my selections for the season ahead. My predictions. My looking at my crystal ball. My shiny ball. I am going to select now what I think will happen come May 2022. So let's start off with the obvious. Derby County there, the Rams, relegated. Bye bye. Do I think anyone else is guaranteed to be relegated with them? Not too sure. So I'll probably start off with I think Barnsley are going to drop off, but I can see them finishing alright still. Birmingham City, no, just no. Reading, yeah, I can see Reading being, like I said, very, very poor, but they still have some decent quality players at the club. Will they stay there in January? Now, there's not a lot of money in the market, so I imagine the players will sit on the contracts they're on until the contracts run out, unless the ones that have wanted Premier League clubs have already gone to the Premier League clubs. So we will see. But I think they have enough about them to avoid relegation. I think Bristol City will get relegated. I'm certain about that. Nigel Pearson is just he's not very good. He's not very good at all. Now Luton Town. I think Luton Town have done enough to tread water, which I think is their aim. I think they're trying to do what Millwall. They're a small club in this league, same as Millwall. I think they're trying to do what we did, establish yourself in this league for a couple of seasons, and I can see them doing that. What do I reckon? So Swansea City, yeah, not too well. I think they will drop off again. I can't see them dropping all the way down. I think, oh, it's disappeared there. You can't see it. I'll put them 7 to 12. Forest, I can see them down. I can't see them top mid table. I see them bottom half. Preston bottom half. Peterborough United. So we're still looking for a relegated club from these teams. Now Hull have got the embargo, but Blackpool, are they all that? Probably not. Same with Peterborough. They've been signing players from non-league. And Huddersfield Town as well. So I imagine it's out of them. I've got to pick one team to be relegated from Blackpool, Hull, Peterborough, and Huddersfield. I've got to say, I'm not too sure. Probably Blackpool. Hopefully Dan Ballard has an absolutely blinding season with Millwall, and that's probably what helped them do so well last season, Blackpool. And without him, maybe not so well for them. So yeah, possibly them. And then that would mean Hull would be there, Huddersfield would be there, and Peterborough would be there. Is that another 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19? So only one. I can have one more team in the 13 to 20. That would probably be Blackburn dropping off there. Is that enough? So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yep. So that's the bottom half there, in no particular order, to be honest with you. So now we got the contenders. So let's auto reverse it, automatic promotion. So I could see so we got Scott Parker going into Bournemouth. Now Bournemouth very exciting to watch last season. Fulham not so much. Fulham plays passing the ball around style of play. Bournemouth were quite aggressive, quite quick transitioning, moving forward. Will Scott Parker go to Bournemouth and try and slow them down? If he does and it doesn't work, that could affect them. So that and like I said before with Fulham, the last two times in this league they went up via the playoffs. And I think probably again, like Scott Parker bailed out. They haven't signed too many players. They've let a lot of players go. That's gonna be a trouble for them. I can see them in the playoffs. Coventry won't make the playoffs. They'll make 7 to 12, and Cardiff as well. So I got one more team to finish in the 7 to 12 range, and then I've got, so that would probably be Stoke, or could it be Millwall? Maybe. So Sheffield United, I think they're going to get more automatic. I think they will. I think West Brom will as well, even with their attacking football. I think it would be kind of a repeat of last season, with Norwich scoring all the goals, and then Watford just constantly winning or drawing, not losing too much. And I think Sheffield United will be the team that constantly wins, and West Brom will be the team that scores all the goals. I think QPR are on a massive bubble. I think they will finish in the playoffs, obviously. Okay. So I need to find two. I need to find. Something's wrong here. No. I need to find 2 more teams in the playoffs, but there's 4 more, and 1 more team from 7 to 12. But then there's, I think that's supposed to be 13 to 21, isn't it? Whoever made this, they made it wrong. It's supposed to be 13 to 21. There's 1 place missing because relegation places are 22, 23, 24. So whoever's made this, they got this wrong. So I need to find. So in that case, what I will do is I will move. I'm gonna move Swansea down to 13 to 20th. I'm gonna put Stoke in 7 to 12. So now I'm looking at two teams to finish in the playoffs and a team to finish 7 to 12. So Millwall still there? Am I gonna bottle it? What do I think is gonna happen? Now, we finished 11th last season. Do I think we will improve on that? Yes, I do. But now the economy's taking a bit of a beating. So fans going to games, will that be affected by the economy? Now Millwall selling a lot of tickets, season tickets. Then we kind of struggled. It took a while to sell the QPR tickets and the Carabao Cup tickets. So if that goes now, it's in terms of the economy, the south of England is miles and above the north of England in terms of economy. So could that be reflected in terms of attendances, which could in turn affect performances of players, which could in turn affect results on pitch? And I'm pretty sure it might. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Bournemouth in the playoffs. And now it comes down to Millwall and Middlesbrough. Now all season long, in all post-season summer transfer, all long, we've been hearing players linked with Middlesbrough or Millwall. Middlesbrough after this player, but Millwall linked with him too. So pretty similar clubs, but I think in terms of the players assigned, Millwall probably got the edge there. Now Middlesbrough signed Ikpeazu from Wickham, and Millwall signed Benakofope from Stoke. I know who's got the better of that deal, and that's Millwall. And Middlesbrough lost quite a few first team players from last season. We look at the squad churn. They're down here, 67.1. Millwall 85.8. So they do got a little bit of a rebuilding job on. And like I said with the economy, I can see. Now this, can I see? This is how it's worked out. So don't blame me. But with the economy being maybe not too good, maybe fans going to games being affected by certain stupid clubs having COVID restrictions. Now I don't know which teams in the Championship are having COVID restrictions, like Ipswich are. It wasn't just for their friendlies; they're doing it for their first game tomorrow as well. Now, will any of these clubs do that? Millwall aren't. QPR aren't. So I think there could be a split between teams who enforce COVID restrictions and those that don't. And I think there could be a north-south split as well. With the economy being the way it is, I could see teams in the south where there's more money, where there's more disposable income, with fans who are able to get to games and pack out the stands. We see pictures all the time in Middlesbrough. Their ground, which it's hosted England games, It was a top Premier League ground in its time when it was built. Now it just looks just half empty when you see it on Sky Sports, and it's quite sad, really. And for that reason, I can see, even when they do well, the ground's not packed out anymore. They can't get the people to pay the money to go there anymore. So I am going to do this. Yes, I believe that Millwall Football Club will get into the playoff places this season. I believe. Am I crazy? I don't know. Maybe because I put 3 London clubs in the playoffs. So, could that happen? I don't know. Has it ever happened before? I don't know. But that's a bit crazy, and 4 Southern teams at that. Maybe that's my Southern bias. I don't know. The team is pretty Northern this season, so to have basically 4 Southern teams in the top 6 is probably kind of crazy. The amount of Northern teams that are in it, but this is how it's come out. So my prediction for the end of the season table is as follows: Sheffield United and West Brom will be promoted. Now I don't know which way, who will be champions. Probably Sheffield United, because I think they're going to be more steady. West Brom will be very erratic, playing very high pressing attacking football, which will probably see West Brom steamroll over the maggots of the league. But against the top 6, they'll probably lose a few games. So they'll probably steamroll the rest of the league, but against the top sides, not do too well, which will affect them and leave them second. I can see Fulham, Queen's Park Rangers, Bournemouth and Millwall finishing in the top 6. And then I can see Barnsley, Luton, Coventry, Cardiff, Stoke and Middlesbrough finish 7th to 12th. And then I can see the bottom half teams from 13 to 21, not 20, 21, being Birmingham, Reading, Forest, Preston, Hull, Huddersfield, Peterborough, Blackburn, Swansea, not in any order, just in those places randomly. And I can see the relegated teams being Derby County, Bristol City and Blackpool. So there you go, that's it. It's a special hour-long video today. Season preview. I'm excited. It all kicks off tomorrow, Loftus Road. Wow. If we can get, I'm gonna do another video today. The normal daily Millwall video, and I'll talk all about the QPR game and our poor result at their place. If we can come out a QPR game with a draw, it will be a very, very good result. Very, very good. But we will see. I cannot wait. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.